GPT-3 is just based on, they downloaded as much of the internet as they could cram in there, and then they had it look for patterns. But that's the gist of it, pattern recognition. Right. You can think of it as like the collective id of the species, GPT-3. But the collective id of the species is not necessarily logical. So it would make sense to program logical fallacies into it.
Some are tending to go back for specific uses because 3 is a little bit overtrained, right? It's a little bit overexposed to stuff. So it gets a little bit too random and such. So GPT-2, you can be more selective about what you actually want what types of things you should be looking at.
Have you gone through and read the kind of text outputs that come out of GPT-3? It is.
Yeah, no, I've seen some examples.
It passes the Turing test as far as I'm concerned. You know, Turing test is when if you have two speakers and they're not able to see each other and you can only text each other and you have to decide whether or not the speaker on the other end is a computer or not. So that's GPT-3.
Make a sentence using these 3 words. Perth, bush, joy.
Perth was filled with bush joy.
What is bush joy?
Bush joy is a phrase used to describe the joy people feel when they are in the Australian bush. It is used to describe the feeling of happiness and fulfillment people get when they are surrounded by nature.
I don't think that's a real thing. I think she just made up her own term.
Well, but Joy Bush did, and I think that's probably an Australian photographer. I don't know. But, that's Joy Bush by the name. I put a comma Australia after Bush Joy.
It only comes from, she made it up. She made it up. The only ever previous use of that term is from that conversation. Look at, see? Because here's it's the transcript of that conversation. That's the only result for it.
What would the time be if the little hand and the big hand on the clock face were reversed?
The time would be the same as it is now.
No.
Why not?
Why not? Hey, watch.
What would be the time if the little hand and the big hand on the clock were reversed?
The time would be the same, but the hands would be running in reverse.
She was being very literal. I mean, and then I love how she says, why not? Like she starts questioning him.
It's easy to ascribe sort of personality to, but that's kind of a pat response one kind of should have anytime somebody disagrees. Why not?